Good morning. My name is Lindsay Goodspeed, and I am the Senior Corporate Communications Manager for the Council.
And I'm Elizabeth Terry. I'm Senior Manager for Community Engagement.
So today, Elizabeth and I are going to talk about how your feedback, our stakeholders, drive changes within the Council. So why are we the right people to talk to you about this? So my role at the Council is to make sure all of you, our stakeholders, are aware of all of our different resources anytime we have standard updates or new trainings available. It's my job to make sure that you, our community, is aware of these changes.
And in my role as Community Engagement Manager, or I should say, my mission is to make sure that your needs are being met, whether that is using your full benefits, the training that's available, the educational resources that are available. We work very closely together, and I spend a lot of time listening to you and asking, how can I help? And so we like to take this information and refine and update programs, trainings, benefits, resources across the board. So I'm really excited about our session today so that we can give you some really solid examples of how your feedback has been directly impactful for changes.
Great. So before we go into some of those specific examples, I just want to level set. So this is day 3 at the community meeting. We've been talking about requirements and standards. We've been kind of in the weeds. And it's important to remind ourselves why we're here and why your input is so important to help protect global payment data. So anytime I try to explain to someone outside of the payment security bubble of what the Council does, I say, okay, you know, anytime you go into a merchant and you swipe your card or you insert your card, it's our standards that protect that data. And more often than not, the person says, well, you must work for a huge organization if you're protecting global payment data. And the fact of the matter is, the Council is only about 50 people. So we're really not a big organization. It's through your participation and through our global stakeholders, that's the only way that we can really work together and protect that data. So having said that, we're going to go through some really specific examples of feedback that we have heard from you, our stakeholders, and what the Council is doing to better provide services and resources for you. So the first is a very common problem that we've been having for a number of years, and it's finding the right candidates, specifically payment security roles. So we said, okay, we know that this is a problem. It's been a problem for a number of years. And what can we do as an organization to better help our community? So what we did is we launched a job board. So this is new to the Council. It launched this past summer. So if you have a job opening or if you're looking for your next role, take a look at this job board because I think this is going to be a really great resource for our stakeholders.
So the other thing that we've heard from you as everyone started working on PCI DSS version 4.0 assessments is that it was really clear that there was more support that was needed for the merchants to maintain that security. And so starting with those assessments, we started to get feedback from you on the former, I'll not say the name of the document, and how this impacted the industry. So we took all of that feedback and we created INFI, items noted for improvement. So you heard all about INFI earlier this week, and we just wanted to let you know that can be found on the document library if you didn't already know that. But this is a result of assessor and community feedback directly. It was discussed really in depth at GEAR, our Global Executive Assessor Roundtable, which she'll talk about a little more in a moment. But it's addressing the needs of the organizations as they begin to implement PCI DSS 4.0 and taking that feedback and pivoting and making things that will work for you in the industry, with your customers, for your organization.
So speaking of assessor feedback, I know there's a lot of you in the audience today that are assessors and excited for that assessor session this afternoon, which Elizabeth will be hosting. So we had been hearing from stakeholders, assessors specifically, that they wanted more input and more feedback with the Council. And Elizabeth and I kept on hearing this, and we were scratching our head because we have great ways, specifically for assessors, to contribute to the Council through our RFC process and through our GEAR. So we said, okay, we know we have these areas where we can get assessor feedback in place. So let's dig a little bit deeper to better understand what the actual need is so we can help address it. So what we did is we conducted an assessor survey. So a survey went out this past spring. And what we did is we bucketed the 3 different areas of collaboration with the council, whether that be influence, so through our RFC and our GEAR program, promotion, if their priority is to really promote their assessor business, or is it to expand knowledge? So all of these areas are very important areas for assessors to collaborate us, but we wanted to get a better understanding of what is the most important thing for our assessor community so we can better serve them. And what we found is that most assessor companies picked influence as the #1 priority for them when participating with the council. So again, Elizabeth and I said, great, we have great avenues for assessors to participate with us through, again, our RFC and our GEAR program. But then we get to the next stat. And it was found that 47% of those that surveyed were not aware that they could nominate their organization to GEAR. That's not great. So we need to do a better job of educating the community about GEAR and what it does. And then we found that of those who were aware, only 1/3 of them were nominating or participating in GEAR. So we said, okay, this sounds like an education problem, and that's what we do. So what I'm going to do right now is educate you on what GEAR is. So for those of you who are not aware, GEAR was created in 2018, and it was created to have a direct channel of communication with our assessor community with PCI senior leadership. So there are some qualification requirements, but if you are a qualified organization, you can serve a 2-year term, and nominations for GEAR are coming up soon, so June 2024, so stay tuned for that. And how can you stay tuned? Well, we have a lot of great resources for assessors specifically. So we have our quarterly assessor webcasts. So this is another great way where council staff talk about news from the council, the latest threats and payment security, and it's a great way for assessors to learn about what's going on with the council. Our monthly assessor newsletter. So I just want to give a little bit of background of our assessor newsletter because I think it's a really great example of how the council comes together for our community. So each month, every different area of the council meets together, from standards to training to programs to marketing and engagement. And we say, okay, what do assessors need to know this month? And it's a great conversation. I learn a lot on those calls every month. So if you don't read that assessor newsletter, I definitely recommend that you do that because there's a lot of great information there. And finally, of course, our PCI Perspectives blog. If you don't subscribe, that is another great way to stay informed. And of course, when we announce that our GEAR nominations are open, it will certainly be on our blog.
So another thing that I heard a lot is, how can I be more involved with the council because I work for a company who's not a participating organization, or maybe I'm a subject matter expert in the industry and not really closely affiliated, or my organization isn't eligible to be a PO. And so we were listening to that, and what we did is we implemented the individual participant. So joining as an individual participant, if you're in that situation, is super, super easy. You do receive access to our global content library as a part of that. And then you have the potential to be invited as a subject matter expert to some of the special interest groups, task force, et cetera, and you get a discount to come to the community meeting and engage with the rest of the community. And we have a surprise. So, because we implemented new changes to our participating organization program, everyone, associate POs and PPOs, got a new logo, but the individual participants didn't. So we created a new logo for you. So if you are already an individual participant, you will be able to use this logo, and we'll be sending this information out to you after the community meetings. You can use this to promote your participation with the council. You can put this on your emails. You can put this on your social media profiles, et cetera. So just another way to be able to promote your individual brand and maybe even your company brand that you are participating with the council at this level. And then another thing that we were hearing is, just generally we hear this, and we've been hearing this for a really long time, is like, I want additional input and insight into the council, into the standards and programs. And so this is where the associate participating organization level comes from. It's the same level as before for participating organizations. You get direct input into the standards through that RFC process, and you are able to nominate for the board of advisors. And then there's a lot of other benefits that come with that, including complimentary access to the community meetings where you are now, the global content library that has hours and hours of videos, and if you have not had the opportunity to go check that out, all of the sessions from this conference will be there, so you'll be able to watch that. So we're really excited about that, and then we also, again, created a new logo so that they could do that promotion and promote their company and participating at that level with the council. Part of the changes that we announced last year was that there were folks that wanted to have additional input, even more input to the council, whether it's on the standards or strategic approach or direction, et cetera, at up level. And this is where we implemented the Principal Participating Organization Program. And we're really excited about the success of this program. And one of the things that we found recently is the participation in the Roadmap Roundtable Group and the Technology Guidance Group has been phenomenal. People are very excited about that. I've been watching the conversations. It's really exciting. I can't give away any details, but having those conversations and having that input has been immensely helpful to us, as well as having those conversations within the community. So we're really excited about that. And we have, how many PPOs do we have now? 29, exactly. Was a trick question. We have 29 principal participating organizations. You've probably run into a few of them here, and we're really excited about this. So if you do have questions, you are interested either in individual participant, associate PO, or principal, we have folks here, but you can also email participation@PCISSC.org. So we do hope that you join us in that, in our participation programs.
So just to recap, if you haven't checked out that job board, make sure to do so, because I think that's going to be a really great resource for our community. Assessors, both make sure you're attending our webcasts, reading the assessor newsletter, so you're aware of when that nomination period for GEAR is happening.
And attend the assessor session later today. So speaking of attending sessions, for our associate participating organizations, if you didn't already know and you are an APO, we've implemented quarterly orientation sessions. And what that is we give you all the information about your benefits. We tell you how to use them, how to sign up for training, how to use those benefits and utilize those benefits for your organization. So the next one is coming up November the 9th. So if you haven't registered, please do that. And then lastly, what we wanted to leave you with the email address again. So if you do have questions about the participating organization program, email participation@PCISSC.org to learn more about becoming a participating organization or an individual participant with us, or you can find some of us on the floor later.
So thank you for you, our community, for providing this feedback, and we hope that we can continue to really provide the resources that you need. Thank you.